Hello everyone and welcome to the FM Systems new features presentation. Today we're going to discuss the hoteling feature inside the new space reservation module. In the workforce today, we're seeing an increase in the number of mobile or remote employees, those who are working from home or travel as a primary function of their job. Hoteling allows us to create spaces specifically for mobile users and allows them to create reservations for these spaces. So let's get into the day in life of a mobile worker and see how the new hoteling features can benefit not just the person, but the corporation as a whole. Right now, I'm logged in as John Bryant, and John typically works from the Houston location. But today, John is traveling to Chicago and is going to need to make a reservation for some space while he's in Chicago. So let's go ahead and choose the Make Reservation button from the main home screen. From the Make Reservation page, we have date and time frames that we can define. When do we want to book space? So I'm going to say, hey, for this coming Thursday, and I want to start at about 8 a.m., and then let's have it go for 2 days. My main meeting is going to be on Friday, and Thursday I'm going to be prepping for this, so I want to make sure it's for 2 days. And then I'm going to leave at about 2 p.m. because I need enough time to get back to the airport in order to make my flight home. We can define the time zone with which we want to book this space in. We can decide where is the location. So if I'm looking, of course this is for Chicago, I want to look on the 6th floor. And right away, I can see all of my available spaces in the Room Results tab. Now, I say available spaces because if someone has already booked any of these hoteling defined rooms in the system for this specific time frame on this day, I will not see that space in the Room Results tab. Another feature that I can see here is whether or not the space requires approval. So you can define different spaces that require approval in the system. For instance, if you are the manager of a sales organization, you might have a central floor where you want all of your personnel to meet quarterly. You have these quarterly meetings. Everyone comes in from around the world, around the globe, and they all need to meet at one specific location. Well, you want the privilege of being able to reserve certain spaces that you've defined for them whenever you need to. However, a majority of the time, your sales personnel are not there. So you want it available to the rest of the company. So you can make these with an approval process, define an approval scope where if it's your own sales staff, the people within your own department, they'll automatically be approved when they try and reserve any of those spaces. Whereas anyone else in the company, they can request that space, but it will require approval from the personnel that you define as your approvers in the system. Okay? The next thing that we want to take a look at is the graphics. So being able to see the available rooms is convenient, but being able to see graphically the spaces, where they're located, where might I want to book, is going to be very convenient for the user working with the system. So as John Bryant, I come in here, I've selected my day, my location, and here's all of the hoteling spaces that are available. Notice when I hover over one of the red spaces, it's letting me know that already a reservation has been made for this location. And if I try and choose it anyway, the system is not going to allow me to do so because it's been fully booked for the time frame that I chose. Now if I come in and I select this yellow space, it's letting me know that's pending within the system. So it has not been approved yet, and it will allow me to select that space because maybe I am part of the group that receives automatic approval. And in so doing, I'm going to bump out the person that was pending for this because I have priority for that space within the system. Another feature here is the ability to reserve for other personnel. So if I'm maybe a department liaison and I'm managing all of the hoteling, maybe for my department manager or for the sales staff or whatever mobile staff that I'm working for, this allows me to then book this for other personnel that are logged in within the system. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click Save here, and this is going to tell me that, oh, hey, guess what? I too am pending because I don't belong to this space. Now, if I was automatically approved, I would get a link into making a reservation within Outlook on my calendar, and so now we have a direct link in order to do that. Okay, once I've made my reservation, I may now want to look at any of my existing reservations in the system. So I'm going to look at my reservations page where this is telling me any of my current reservations and maybe any conflicts within the system, if I want to cancel a reservation, or if I'd like to edit any of my reservations within the tool. Also available to me, if I open up the left-hand side navigation here, is the ability to look at a calendar view. The calendar view allows me to really go in and see from a specific location what's going on currently. So it's going to default to the day, and I can see Lauren Christie is booked here. I click on her record and it kind of gives me the information. She's got it pretty much all day long from 8 a.m. until 3:30. If I want to look at a week view, I want to see this space, and I see Lauren Christie has it Monday, looks like Wednesday, Sandra and Jacqueline have it Thursday. Maybe I'm looking for a specific space, and I need to see when the next string of 3 or more days is available. And I see that April looks like is completely booked for what I want to do. So I'll jump into May, and now I can see from May, first week of May, I have availability. Second week, I'm getting a little tight. Third week, I have availability, etc. So the calendar view really gives me some good insight into a specific location. Now remember, we talked about the approvals that might be required. If you are set up as an approver, you're going to be able to see all the reservations that have come into the system, not just yours, but be able to approve the reservations that require approval or reject them. Because again, maybe you're that liaison and hey, I have staff coming in that day, so sorry, you can't use this. I'm going to have to reject that reservation for you. But if I decide, hey, yeah, no one's coming in, it releases the space, I'm going to approve it, gives the approval success notification, and will send out an email notification that will include a file that allows me to now create that Outlook or Lotus Notes calendar entry within that system. Okay? After that, what other features are going to be beneficial, again, to the corporation as a whole? And that's where we get into some of the reporting. Now, we realize that with reporting, the majority of your reporting is going to be done by your consultant. They're going to do the needs analysis to determine exactly what it is that you need to see. In this case, the example that I've created is a space chargeback report where we can drill into any of the departments that have reserved spaces. I can see who reserved it, what was the space, the time frame that they reserved it, the size of the space that they reserved, the days that were used, so the time frame that they booked, and also the chargeback rate. So my daily rate that I've defined here, and it might be different for different types of spaces. So while most of your hoteling spaces might be workstations, you might have some offices or some workrooms that you do set up for hoteling that could be reserved, and they might have different daily rates associated with them. So this gives me my calculation for my totals there. Also, room utilization, both past and present. So if I want to come in and see how much a room has been utilized, I can see a capacity, how many days have been used. I might set up time frames. So how often was this used last week? How often was it used last month, last quarter, last year, etc. And so now you can start getting some of those metrics in order to define is there a space that isn't hardly ever being utilized? Why? Maybe it's in a really bad location, a very noisy location. Maybe most of your hoteling spaces you find are being booked near windows, etc. And so if over time you figure out that, hey, this just isn't being used that often, why? And then find out the reason why, and now maybe you free that to other types of space. Make it a file room, a copier room, something like that, and now make a more desirable space opened up for hoteling within the system. With that wraps up the hoteling presentation. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day.